150-meter longline vessel leaves harbor lights behind, heading for deep Atlantic waters where giant bluefin roam. The coastline fades into haze as the longline vessel commits fully to offshore waters and an uncertain high-stakes hunt.
Hours offshore, only endless horizon remains as the crew enters a migratory corridor for record-sized Atlantic bluefin tuna.
Inside the wheelhouse, navigation systems confirm the vessel has reached prime bluefin grounds patrolled by international fleets each season.
These giants can exceed 3 meters and weigh over 600 kilograms, commanding staggering prices at elite auction markets.
Each fish is a moving fortune, but securing one demands absolute precision, strength, and respect for brutal ocean conditions.
On deck, heavy industrial circle hooks and leader lines are laid out as the crew prepares the deep-sea longline system.
Each hook is baited by hand, turning frozen sardines and mackerel into precise invitations for a multi-100-kilogram predator. Buoys, weights, and branch lines are staged in order, forming a kilometer-scale weapon designed for deep pelagic hunters.
With daylight fading, the captain gives the order to set gear, committing the vessel to an all-night bluefin operation.
Beneath the surface, the first section of longline sinks slowly, hooks fluttering as currents grab hold of the gear. As more sections enter the water, a suspended highway of bait stretches silently across the pelagic darkness. Tiny plankton and schooling baitfish weave among the hooks, unaware that tonight's visitors may weigh half a metric ton.
On the surface, only glowing buoys and the low engine rumble betray the presence of a multi-kilometer fishing system below.
Then, far behind the vessel, a massive dorsal fin slices the surface, a first glimpse of a giant bluefin shadowing the line.
Deep below, the baits swing on gentle currents, each one a potential trigger for a life-changing strike.
A vague, heavy shape materializes at the fringe of visibility, then vanishes again into the blue murk.
Up top, the crew rotates watch, knowing any booth's sudden movement could signal hundreds of kilograms locked on below. At depth, a colossal bluefin glides into view, dwarfing the hooks and making the heavy gear look suddenly fragile. The giant circles outside the hook line, assessing each bait with the cold efficiency of a top-level predator. Smaller fish rush in to feed, but the bluefin holds back, conserving energy as the night's tension quietly builds.
Near one branch line, a perfectly presented bait drifts at eye level, trembling in the faint current.
At the surface, a massive body rolls just beneath the waves, its pectoral fin carving a sharp line through foam.
The long line stretches tight between buoys, a silent boundary between human ambition and raw animal power.
Below, the giant returns, now closer, its enormous eye tracking the hooked baits with unsettling focus.
The crew senses nothing yet, but the entire system hangs on a knife edge of timing and instinct.
The bluefin accelerates, looping back toward the hooks with the deliberate commitment of a predator ready to strike. In a moment of perfect alignment, bait and open jaws meet, a fraction of a second before steel finds flesh.
Water explodes around the bait line as the fish commits, twisting its body in a surge of muscle and mass.
On the surface, buoy lines shiver, tiny hints of a colossal battle beginning out of sight.
At depth, the circle hook rotates perfectly, bearing itself into the hard corner of the bluefin's jaw. The fish surges upward, driving water aside as its immense body turns raw power into unstoppable momentum.
Tension gauges spike as the long line bows, finally alerting the crew that something enormous is now attached below.
On the surface, buoys are dragged into a tight cluster, marking the location of a single, overpowering animal.
The call goes out across the deck. Gear up, harness in. This is the moment the entire expedition was built for.
Far below, the hooked giant bluefin drives horizontally, testing both the hook set and the strength of the longline system.
Each burst of speed sends violent shudders up the main line, telegraphing pure muscle through steel and synthetic fiber.
At the surface, the nearest buoy disappears, sucked under by a surge of power no wave could generate alone.
The hauler is engaged, and the vessel swings to a line, turning hull and winch into a single fighting machine.
Below, the bluefin turns upward, forced to fight not only the hook, but the rising angle of the line.
On deck, every movement is deliberate. A misstep on this wet steel could turn a victory into disaster. The line sings through the water, slicing a white trail as the fish searches desperately for depth it can no longer reach.
At the surface, a patch of water boils, hinting at something immense just out of sight beneath the chop.
The captain fine-tunes speed, feeling for that delicate balance between exhausting the fish and snapping the gear.
With the fish now closer to the surface, every surge becomes more dangerous, threatening to launch spray and steel across the deck. Beneath the chop, the bluefin spirals upward, locked to a line that allows only one direction, toward the light. The vessel rises and falls in sync with the unseen fish, each swell amplifying stress on metal, rope, and human bodies. Suddenly, the ocean erupts behind the stern as the hooked giant bluefin explodes completely out of the water.
The crew roars as the fish crashes back down, but adrenaline must give way instantly to discipline and control.
At the surface, the fish thrashes, tail scything white arcs as it feels the unforgiving pull of industrial gear.
The hauler slows, letting the fish burn energy in bursts, instead of risking catastrophic failure from constant brute force.
Again it erupts, this time closer, a silver and blue missile detonating just meters from the steel hull.
For a heartbeat, crew and fish lock eyes, each recognizing the other as a serious, dangerous opponent.
The fish now tows the bow sideways, proving even a 150-meter vessel can be bullied by a single determined animal.
Beneath the waves, the bluefin digs in again, trying one last deep run before exhaustion sets in.
It fails, forced back toward the surface, where air, light, and gravity strip away the last illusions of escape.
The crew tightens harnesses and clears space, knowing the next phase brings the fish dangerously close to steel and flesh.
Foam and spray mark the path as the fish circles closer to the stern, each lap shorter than the last.
Gradually, the hauler wins inches, transforming wild horizontal runs into tight, vertical pressure beneath the hull.
One last detonation of water launches the exhausted giant completely airborne beside the stern in a final, desperate outburst.
When it lands this time, the fish remains near the surface, rolling heavily, the fight shifting decisively toward the crew. On deck, heavy lifting straps are staged, ready to convert a wild animal into carefully controlled cargo. The captain carefully matches drift and swell, sliding the long hull alongside the tiring bluefin for the lifting phase.
In one last defiant surge, the bluefin heaves its bulk sideways, throwing half its body onto the top of a wave.
That effort costs it dearly, and the next time it surfaces, the movements are slower, more mechanical than explosive.
A lead crewman leans out, judging distance and timing, waiting for the exact moment to commit the lifting gear. On a shouted count, the first heavy strap drops, disappearing beneath the bluefin's head exactly as a wave lifts.
A second strap follows for the midsection, ensuring the bluefin's weight will rest on fabric, not fragile jaw and spine.
With straps secured, the hauler and deck crane take over, transforming raw struggle into controlled vertical lift.
As tension comes on, the bluefin makes one final surface thrash, a last flash of wildness before gravity wins.
The fish now hangs just below the surface, rolling helplessly as the crew positions it for the climb onto steel.
On deck, every eye tracks the load. Too fast, something breaks. Too slow, waves reclaim the prize.
Steel shudders as hundreds of kilograms leave the sea and transfer onto the vessel's reinforced lifting points.
Bit by bit, the bluefin clears the rail, its sheer size shocking even veterans who have landed giants for decades.
When the tail finally swings inside, the battle ends, replaced by the heavy logistics of handling a living fortune.
The fish touches steel for the first time, sliding onto a deck already flushed with seawater for easier handling.
Even half-spent, one violent tail kick could shatter legs, forcing the crew to control the fish from distance.
From above, the full scale is undeniable, a single fish occupying nearly the entire width of the working deck.
With danger fading, the tone shifts to precision, as tape and scales convert raw mass into exact, marketable numbers. With the animal finally still, the hook and leader are removed carefully to preserve both meat quality and safety. A wide shot reveals the scene. Towering superstructure above, a single colossal fish sprawled on the steel stage below.
First cuts divide head and tail from the main body, turning one giant form into manageable, high-value sections.
And the deep red flesh reveals perfect fat marbling, the visual signature of a top-grade bluefin destined for elite buyers.
From a low angle, the massive carcass and its thick loins tower over kneeling crewmen working to separate prime sections. Each loin is lifted carefully, supported fully to avoid tearing the muscle that determines so much of the price.
On stainless tables, the loins are trimmed of membrane and bloodline, revealing clean blocks of export-grade tuna.
From above, rows of rich red loins form a pattern, geometry drawn in flesh, effort, and millions of dollars at stake. The remaining skeleton, head, and trimmings are sorted, nothing wasted, in a system honed over decades at sea.
Ice begins to flow, burying premium cuts under a protective layer that must maintain quality all the way to shore.
Another overhead shot captures the transformation. What was once a single wild animal has become organized inventory. Labels mark grade, weight, and time of capture, data essential for both traceability and maximum economic return. The crew rinses down the steel, washing away the evidence of battle, while the value of that battle chills below deck.
One last hero shot shows the packed totes lined up, a silent row of containers holding a fortune in tuna. Below deck, the cold room doors swing open, revealing the heart of the vessel's onboard value preservation system. Pallets are stacked methodically, ensuring airflow and temperature remain consistent around every premium cut.
A final interior wide shot shows the hold filled with carefully packed bluefin, a steel vault riding the open sea.
In the logbook, the catch is recorded with coordinates, weather, and gear settings, data for future hunts and regulators alike. Engine settings change as the captain turns the vessel toward port, trading pursuit for delivery.
Outside, the weather has eased, leaving a calmer sea beneath a sky that seems almost indifferent to the drama below.
Below deck, sensors confirm stable temperatures in every hold, safeguarding both quality and reputation. The processing spaces are sterilized, hoses and knives cleaned thoroughly in preparation for the next high-stakes set.
With gear stowed and decks secure, the vessel becomes less a battlefield and more a moving marehouse of chilled protein. The bow cuts through night swells toward land, carrying stories and value gathered far beyond the horizon line. Dawn finds the vessel approaching port approaches, pilots and dock crews preparing for a precision offload.
Massive dockside cranes roll into position, ready to transfer frozen value from ship's hold to shore-based logistics. Cold room doors open again, this time to the outside world, as pallets of bluefin begin their journey landward.
Each pallet is checked against digital manifests, confirming every box that left the sea also lands on the ledger.
Refrigerated trucks back into position, their insulated doors yawning open like gateways into another controlled environment.
Inside, cold air spills out as pallets slide into place, extending the unbroken chain from ocean to consumer. The trucks depart the quay, carrying their quiet cargo toward processing hubs and international airports.
At a specialized cutting facility, bluefin shipments arrive under strict time and temperature controls. Here, master graders evaluate sample cuts, assigning quality ranks that will dictate final destination and price.
The highest grades are earmarked for premium sashimi markets, tagged for shipment to distant metropolitan centers. In climate-controlled cargo holds of aircraft, the tuna crosses continents in hours, chasing sunrise across time zones.
In an upscale restaurant kitchen, a chef receives a pristine bluefin loin, traceable all the way back to the vessel. With practiced precision, he trims the loin, revealing flawless, ruby-red meat perfect for raw preparations. Thin slices fall in a steady rhythm, each destined to be both luxurious ingredient and final chapter of a long journey.
In the dining room, plates arrive like tiny stages, showcasing ocean power translated into delicate, edible form. Diners taste the result, rich, clean, unforgettable, rarely considering the steel, risk, and distance behind each bite. Outside, city lights shimmer, while far offshore another longline vessel prepares to risk everything in pursuit of the next giant.